we do not take it granted that they are here with us today. So, Dr. Olalua Bangberi, over to you. Please do the quick introductions, and then I will take over for us to start the session. Thank you, everyone, and welcome. Sit back, relax, and let's have a good time tonight.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Eileen. Okay, so apologies due to power cut. I won't be able to turn on my video. There's power cut here. I don't have light here, and I will just use my phone. So I won't be able to turn on my video while I read, their profile. So I will go with, Dr. Jonathan's profile first. So reading Dr. Jonathan and a brief, profile, because his profile is like 3 or 4 pages. I know him very well. I mean, vast and versatile in the sustainability financing, tax, and auditing space and consulting. So I will just go pretty much with the abridged version. So Dr. Jonathan is a certified chartered accountant, tax consultant, and finance expert with over 20 years of experience in banking, development finance, consulting, and business training. He's a fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, FCCA, and a certified IFC master trainer and assessor, recognized, for excellence in adult learning and capacity building. He serves as the managing partner at Office Lot Consulting, a Lagos-based firm specializing in financial management, strategy development, and sustainability solutions for businesses. Dr. Jonathan blends practical financial expertise with advanced training methodologies to help organizations like mine. I mean, he has been helpful several times, enhance performance, drive value creation, and scale impact. So, like I mentioned earlier, this is just an abridged version of Dr. Jonathan. He is vast in sustainability financing, taxation, consulting, and helping, developmental finances, and then helping small businesses to grow. So, welcome, Dr. Jonathan. Let's once again, use reactions and emojis to welcome Dr. Jonathan Int'l, the managing partner at Office Lot Consulting and a facilitator lecturer at Lagos Business School. All right. So while we are welcoming him, we also have Mr. Emmanuel Ojakobo. Like I mentioned earlier, once again, abridged, summarized. I mean, the profile is rich. LinkedIn, you can visit his page on LinkedIn to see more about him. And listening to him, probably you discover more about him as well. So Mr. Emmanuel Ojakobo is a finance and tax expert with over 30 years of experience in both employment and consulting. He holds an MBA with honors from the University of Leicester in the United Kingdom and a BSc in accounting from the University of Jos, Nigeria. He's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, FCA, and fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, FCTI, and a certified public-private partnership specialist from IP3 in Washington, D.C. So join me as I welcome Mr. Emmanuel Ojakobo as well. So here are the profile. Over to you. Over to you, Dr.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Bangwe. Welcome, Dr. Jonathan, and also Mr. Ojakobo. We're showing you some love here. Right, so let's get straight into this. The tax law is a big thing. It's in fact, it's now what's giving everybody anxieties. On my phone today, I must have received like 3 or 4 messages on how to put your narrative in your bank transfers. And the truth is, tax ignorance is no longer affordable. Compliance is now something that works for everybody. This is not the season for us to be afraid of taxes. All over the world, people pay taxes. I remember working for the German government a few years ago, and automatically they just deduct 25% from my 20% from whatever my remuneration was. So when you get a contract, automatically you just deduct the 20%. It's a no-brainer. So for us in Nigeria, I don't think we should be afraid of tax. I think what we should do is to understand it, and that's why we are here today, to understand tax. Before I continue, Dr. Olalua, can we please turn off that bell that rings when people join, so that it doesn't distract our speakers? Can we turn off that noise, this noise? Can we please turn it off?
maybe subsequently, I can't find any icon that can help.
Okay,
I've been on it
I'll
for a
look at
while.
it. Okay,
All
I'll look
right.
at it once I hand
Thank you,
over
thank you.
to the speakers. So, like I said, taxation is not something we should be afraid of. It is part of what we need to do. So, to start, we are going to have Dr. Jonathan Ike Olumba set the tone on why this taxation matters, what why are we all worried about it, and why should we be concerned about it? Instead of being worried about it or being afraid about it, what should we understand about it? So I would give the floor to our two speakers to have like 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes presentation each. So Dr. Jonathan will speak about why this taxation matters. Why does it matter? What is this about taxation that is important to us as agribusiness practitioners? And then Mr. Emmanuel Ojakovo is going to speak to us on what it means for you as a business owner, right? So Dr. Jonathan will sort of set the tone. He will frame to us why does this taxation matter, and Mr. Ojakovo is going to speak to us on what we need to know as business owners and what are the practical steps that we will address. So I will yield to Dr. Jonathan Ike Olumba to make his short presentation on why taxation matters. And then Mr. Jacobo will speak to us for another 5 minutes on how it affects you. So, Dr. Jonathan, please, you have the floor now.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And I think it's even fair to just say Merry Christmas to all of us. Dr. Helen, I sent you a message privately just in case, because I'm actually
I have
in a
seen it. Don't
location.
worry. I have seen it. So go
All
ahead.
right.
I
All
have
right.
seen it. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So first of all, thank you all for sparing your obule period, like Dr. Helen did say, to just come and listen about something that I think is also relevant to talk about, and really talking broadly about tax. I did have a presentation, but because I'm not the host, I'm not able to share it. So what I would attempt to do is to speak
I've allowed
on
you
it.
to share now. I've allowed you
Oh,
to share.
okay, okay, all right. Okay then. Let me just speak broadly a bit. Okay, so in two ways, I'll break your point. I think the point is why does taxes matter, but more importantly is we are looking at the new Reform Act. Just to give you some context, so in June this year, there was the signing into a law of a set of different laws, about four acts, if you like to call it, that is consolidated, called the Tax Reform Act. And the bigger picture is that this was supposed to be like a 6 month period before it came into existence. So this was signed in 26th of June, with the idea that by January 1st it's going to come in and become effective. Although the work was completed by the committee that worked on it sometimes around March, right? So which also led to deliberations before it eventually became signed. But what really was the whole idea? I think the idea was really that they wanted to consolidate the various taxes. One of the major things that people speak about is how many taxes you find that, whether as an individual or as a corporate entity, right, or as a taxable person, like we like to say, that one does sort of pay in this country. So the idea was to eliminate multiple taxes and streamline the tax landscape in a way that makes it very easy to understand what are your taxes, and also to simplify the process in itself. For clarity, there are four acts, and I would list them here, right? So there's the Nigeria Tax Act, there's the Tax Administration Act, there's the Revenue Service Act, the Joint Revenue Board. I'll try and break down essentially what they are, how they tie together. So the main act in itself, which is the Tax Act, is really the consolidation, or if you like, say, the streamlining of all the various taxes. So some of the taxes you've always known, like company income tax, personal income tax, value-added tax, withholding taxes, have all been repealed, right, and consolidated into one tax act. So you have what you just call a Nigeria Tax Act that just makes it easy to understand what are the various taxes that do apply. There's the Administration Act that speaks to how these taxes will be administered, the layers of the government, who is responsible for what sort of taxes, etc. Another act that was passed into law is the Nigeria Revenue Service. Just to make a point that from January 1st, it will cease to be called FIRS. So FIRS is the Federal Inland Revenue Service. It will cease to be called that name. It will now be called Nigeria Revenue Service. This is very important. And the point is really to move away from understanding it from the perspective of the federal government, but just really looking holistically as to what accrues to Nigeria. Then there's the Joint Revenue Board that allows for facilitation and looking at how the various layers of tax administrators can work together. So those are the four acts together that, when we think about them, is now called the Tax Reform Act. Like I did say, what's the objective around it? To make tax compliance very simple. Also to optimize revenue for the government and leverage technology, which will make it very difficult for people to evade taxes, and also to enhance enforcement, and also the things around penalties, which we'll get to speak to at some point. So that's really what it is. The idea is that with this new act, and we'll get into the details very soon, it will become very easy for people to understand what are your tax obligations. It becomes very easy to do things around tax compliance, because everything that is going to be done in a digitized and automated form. No sort of manual intervention when it comes to payment around taxes. And also just to also improve the understanding around what our tax implications and liabilities will be. So those are the broad objectives around it. And it's really the way to go. Because everywhere in the world, the major way that the government finances itself, right, is through taxes, essentially. Let me just make one point before I then hand over to my colleague who's going to speak on other things. Just to say that there's a lot of misconception around the way the taxes will be administered. I'm hoping that this will be an opportunity to shed light. Specifically for Greek, there's a lot of benefits, and one of the things I'm hoping we will get into very soon is what are those benefits for all of us, right? So there's really nothing to be worried about. What we always say in the tax balance is two things. Let's not confuse them. So there's what we call tax evasion. That's a crime. To evade tax is a crime. But there's tax avoidance when you understand, for example, how to take advantage of the loopholes in the tax system. So one of the things I'll be hoping to share will be, how do I take advantage of this new tax reform act? What are the opportunities there? And there's a lot for people in agro. Many of the things we do in agro are VAT exempt. That's one direct benefit, right? And obviously, you can take advantage of the fact that if you're in the agro production side of things, right, for the first 5 years, you can actually have what I might call like a waiver in terms of your company income taxes. And if you have, for as long as they're a small business, you can always enjoy quite a lot in terms of being VAT exempt, also exempt from company income tax and the like. So at the risk of speaking too much, just a high level of what is in it for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan. But just before you hand over to Mr. Jacobo. You're supposed to be Dr. Sha. Just for you hand over to Mr. Jacobo, I'd like you to
We can give him a doctor here. We can make
I
him a
know
doctor here.
he has capacity to work for it. I know him very well. Just for you hand over to him, can you shed more light on what are the taxes? If you look at the agribusiness value chain, there's production, there's processing, there's inputs, there's production, which is either you're planting or you're rearing animals, and then there is processing, there are services. Can you just throw a bit more light on what are the taxes that people in the value chain should be aware of before we hand over to Mr. Jacobo? Thank you.
All right, thanks. So I think the way I would look at your question would be, what are the very popular taxes? Because the truth of the matter is that depending on the nature of the kind of transactions, there can be several kinds of taxes, but I'll speak to the very popular ones. So for example, if you operate as a company, your company income, i.e., your company profits, right, will be, is liable to taxes if you are within the threshold. And what's the definition of the threshold? That's also a good point for us to take away. So a small company is any company whose total annual turnover, right, is 100 million and above, right? And to the extent that the fixed asset within the business is 250 million or below, right? I think that's a very strong point I want to make. So 100 million in terms of annual turnover and with a fixed asset, right, of 250 million and below, right? So that's two should go together, right? So if you operate in that sort of band where your annual turnover, meaning over a 12-month period, right, is above 100 million and your fixed assets, right, is not more than 250 million, then such a business, right, is exempt from paying a company income tax. So that's one very critical tax that applies. Now, if you also work, let's say you're an employee or you also have employees. So employees who work for you too are also liable to paying what they call a personal income tax, right? So think about it as, for example, what we typically would call pay as you earn. So you earn a salary because you work in an agro company or you have employees who work for you, right? So they are also expected that the employer would deduct what they call a personal income taxes from them. Now, as a company, you engage in transactions, right? And you engage in certain transactions where you are providing a service or providing a goods or you sell your goods, right? So there's a consumption tax in that line, which is liable, what we might call like a value-added tax, right? As you provide a sale on those products and services. Now, the thing to note is that for agro production, right? Especially when I mean for agro produces, right? In its core natural stage, right? So, for example, yam, rice, maize, beans, all those things, right? Those things are VAT exempt. Now, that's also very important that we should note. Now, but when they are processed, so for example, processed plantain chips, or fried rice that is cooked, right? That's a different thing. So core agro produce, right, in those forms are VAT exempt. Another one is withholding tax. So if you are contracted to do a supply or a sale, you are contracted, right? That's the keyword. There's withholding tax that do apply, right? Now, if you are within that small company threshold, you're also exempted from these taxes in itself, right? We can get into what does a withholding tax mean. Simply a very good way to look at withholding taxes, which is a big misconception many times, that a withholding tax is actually an advanced form of paying your income or your company income tax. So whatever amount is withheld, by the point you want to then do your company income tax assessment and filing for the year, those amounts that have been withheld, right, can nil off what your obligations are. So I think these are the popular ones, but the other ones that apply. So for example, if you sell what we call a chargeable asset, so let's say you have a capital asset, and then you make a sale on the gain on disposal, those gains again, to the certain thresholds, right, can also qualify for a capital gain tax in itself. These are some of the very popular ones, at the risk of taking a lot of time, but I've just spoken to them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan Ike for setting the tone. So I'll go straight over to Mr. Ojakovo. Um, Olaluwa, do you want to read Mr. Ojakovo's profile? Have you read it?
I
He
read
has
it,
read
ma.
it.
Yes, I
Okay,
have.
all right.
Thank you, ma.
Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you. I probably missed it with sound. All right, so Mr. Jacobo, Dr. Keolumba has set the tone on taxation, which for me at this level is like saying this is what taxation is, right? I know that you have very practical experience in the private and public sector, also in the financial sector, and more importantly, you have been a tax administrator. So Dr. Jonathan has told us what we need to know. But this information is out there, a lot of us still do not know. So I'd like you to bring it home, bring it down to us. What should we be doing as agribusiness practitioners to ensure that we are compliant with the new tax law? What practical steps should we be taking? Those are some of the things I'd like you to address in addition to the presentation that I have seen that you have started sharing. So over to you, and thank you very much, Dr. Ike Olumba, for setting the tone. Mr. Jacobo will go ahead and bring it home, and then we can begin to take some questions. And if you want to have follow on, we will come back to you. So over to you, Mr. Jacobo. Unmute yourself, oh. You have not unmuted yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
All right. So thank you so very much, Dr. Helen. Excited to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Dr. Olaoluwa, thank you. And Dr. Ike Olumba, you've done a beautiful opener. Thank you also so very much. I'll bring it home. I'm not. I'm a task man on the street, so I'm going to bring it home where we can all understand it. It's a few slides. I'm sure that by the time I'm done, and we can take the questions that follow. So without much ado, I'm just going to run through this quickly, and then we can take the questions that come. So straight on would. I'm not going to, okay, so the outline is the broad tax reform overview, the exceptions and implications, offenses and penalties, the challenges and consideration for agribusiness, tax incentives agribusiness can leverage, and then essential compliance steps for the agribusiness. For the broad tax reform, Dr. Ike Olumba has done I've dealt with it practically, so I'm not going to spend time here. The four acts that have been signed and what they are meant to do. Two of them are strictly setting up bodies, and so the issues that we're discussing are actually related to the Tax Act and the Tax Administration Act. The Revenue Service is replacing the FIRS, which is just to stating their powers, their mandate, and how they are meant to run. The Joint Task Board is both the Revenue Service and all the state revenue services and FCT coming together and with ex-official members. So the emphasis is actually on the Nigerian Tax Act and the Tax Administration Act. So I won't spend much time here. So there are some exemptions, and some of them would apply, and some would apply to you as a business person, not necessarily an agribusiness person. For instance, the payee, whether you're an agribusiness person or whatever you do, you are required to pay personal income tax. And the fear and the anxiety is not high, is overplayed in the marketplace. Because today, if you are a business person, the question is, do you have staff? Do you pay tax for them as payee for your staff? If you do that already, there's no issue. Do you have salary as a business person? Is the business separate from you? Do you just get into the business account and then you pay your rent, you do every other thing you want to do, you pay your children's school fees, and there is no salary for you as the business owner? If you already have a structure where you have salary, then there's no issue as well. All right. Do you currently file your account with Federal Inland Revenue Service, and do you pay tax, company income tax? So some of these are not new. It's just consolidation, and a few of the penalties have been enhanced, and then trying to get as many people as possible into the tax net. But a lot of these issues, a lot of these provisions have always been there. So let's not make it look like, oh, this government has come to kill us. No, that's not the position. A lot of these are in existence before now. And so his question is whether you were complying with the tax laws even before now or not. All right. So we'll look quickly at the exemptions and what implications they have for us. So these are like personal income tax now. What is exempt? Now, there is a personal income tax template where once you put in the salaries, your basic, your housing, your transport, it computes automatically what tax you're supposed to pay. So whether it doesn't matter whether this new tax law is coming into effect in January or not. This was always there. And so you needed to ensure that you pay tax for your staff and for yourself. So pension contribution, health insurance, housing fund, loan on owner-occupier, life insurance, and rent relief. The rent relief is the new one that's introduced here, 20% of annual rent. And they capped it at 500,000. I'm sure they did not consider Lagos when they were doing this, but that is what it is. So these are the reliefs that are there. The exemptions, annual gross income, minimum wage. If you are earning the minimum wage, you are not required to pay personal income tax. They've also reduced payee for individuals who are middle income earners. So they said, and then gift items are now exempted from tax. Before now, is a major issue. They consider them as benefit in kind. Now, further ones are the pension. Some people went into the business, into your agribusiness after retirement. And so these pension funds and what you have from your pension, and then if you're leaving your paid employment and there's compensation up to 50 million, they are exempt. So you are not required to pay tax on them. Your gratuity, your pension, your retirement benefits, pay under the Pension Reform Act are exempt from personal income tax. So these are personal income tax. And like I said, what I need to emphasize here is you need to have a salary for yourself and separate the business account from your personal account. That way, a lot of the fears that, they will just come and then they just deduct money from your account. No. Can you separate your accounts and can you explain what the accounts are meant for? Money coming into the account, do you have third-party evidence of how that money got into your account? Once you have all of that, nobody's going to deduct money from your account. So please, I've heard a lot of people say, they're just going to deduct money from your account and all of that. No, nobody's going to do that. But can you substantiate the money in your account? So in your business account, there's 500 million. And again, before now, there are deposit limits and withdrawal limits that were reported to NDIC. They were not taking it seriously, but these reporting requirements have always been there. And so when they just say, okay, we're going to now take it a bit more seriously. We're going to be looking at what comes into your account, and you should be in a position to defend it. Nobody's going to deduct money from your account if you can prove that this is money from this particular source for my business. All right. So we move to companies' income tax. Dr. Jonathan has talked about the 100 million, 250 million. The one in red is just what I will emphasize here. There's a 5-year holiday for agribusiness, whether it's crop production, livestock, dairy. If you are starting one now, you are actually allowed to claim the pioneer status and you can be tax exempt for 5 years. All right. That is very important. And capital gains tax is general. If the exemptions that they've given is they've taken the capital gains tax out of the retail level to those who are actually doing large-scale businesses, sale of houses. So if you are selling your house, once you are selling owner-occupier house, no capital gains will be required of you. Personal effects, if you sell your jewelries, whatever personal effect you're selling, as long as it's not more than 5 million, it will not affect you. If you are selling personal vehicles, if you are not selling more than 2, it will not apply to you. But once you're selling more than 2, they assume that you are not a car dealer. You are no longer selling personal vehicles. And so capital gains tax will apply. And then if you gain your capital gains in the capital market, 150 million a year, or if your capital gains on shares below 150 is exempt, or gains of up to 10 million is exempt. So they are taking the capital gains from the retail taxpayers to the large ticket, high net worth individuals. So they will tell you that they are taxing the rich, they are not taxing the poor. So all of the issues about capital gains tax is about taxing the rich, not these small SME or individuals who are selling personal items or effects. So there's tax holiday if you're going into agribusiness for 5 years. Stamp duties. The electronic money, so there are some exemptions, electronic money transfer below 10,000. Most of these were in existence. Salary payments, no stamp duties will apply anymore. Intra-bank transfers, if you are transferring money from one account in a particular bank to another account in a particular bank, they are not expected to charge you stamp duties. Transfers involving government securities or shares, and then documents related to transfer of stock and shares, there shouldn't be stamp duty. Then development levy, small companies are fully exempt from the development levy that is required of large organizations or corporates, large corporates. Withholding tax also, the small companies as defined by Dr. Jonathan earlier, manufacturers, agribusinesses are exempt from withholding tax on income that they earn. Now, small companies are also exempt from withholding tax on payments they make to suppliers. Now, so these are some of the exemptions that you will benefit once your business is required as a small and medium enterprise. I saw a question earlier, someone say whether I can split his business into 2. We'll get to that when we'll get to that. I saw it. I just said, okay. So now I can just speak to that as we go. I'm almost done. So it's like if you split your business into 2 because you don't want to cross the threshold of a small business, you are shooting yourself on the foot, because there are a lot of benefits that you'll also get when your business is now seen as a large corporate. The kind of facilities you will attract, the kind of partnership that you can get, you miss them because you don't want to pay tax. Rather, you should look at how to manage your tax through tax avoidance, like Dr. Jonathan said, not evasion, avoidance, managing your tax. You can understand the tax laws. I read a book long ago, The Master of the Game. It's a business is a game with fantastic stakes involved. If you have to win, you have to be a master of the game. So if Trump comes and tells you, I'm not paying tax, he's saying it boldly because he understands the tax and he can manage it. He avoids tax, not because he understands it. He's not evading tax, and he can prove to you why he's not paying the taxes that he's not paying. So reliefs for other critical sectors. Here, the one in red, for agri inputs, fertilizers, seeds, seedlings, feeds. Dr. Olaoluwa said is into feed. So these are VAT, they are exempted from VAT. Live animals are exempt. Agri equipment also, whether you are leasing, whether you are purchasing, whether you are on hire, is also exempt from VAT. All other things that are exempt are there, but the ones I highlight in red are the ones that are applicable to agribusiness. An area that I also want to, since the last session, is to look at the penalties. And this is actually the area that a lot of people don't even know. What they've done is to increase the rate of penalties because they know that a lot of people are not compliant, and they deliberately don't want to pay tax. So a lot of the penalties have been increased. And so I need us to understand it so that we don't fall foul. If you fail to register for tax, that means you have not registered your business, you don't have a TIN number, and the tax authorities don't know you. There's a penalty. 50,000 in the first month and 25,000 every other month until you register. Now, if you award a contract to an unregistered person, so who is an unregistered person? So before you award any contract, please ensure that the person has a TIN number. It doesn't matter whether the person is your relation. It doesn't matter whether the person is your friend. So please let it be a policy. If you are not registered with tax authority, I cannot give you a contract to supply anything, even if it is office supplies. Please. It's very simple. You just tell the person, please, anyone that you are giving a contract to in this company, the person must be registered with tax authority. And so you don't. The penalty is 5 million. It's very steep. 5 million. So please, let's be guided.
5 million waiting. 5 million waiting.
Naira.
Just for saying the person is not registered. Just that the person is not registered.
Yes. What they are trying to do, this is the area that nobody is talking about. All of those other things that they're talking about were already in existence. But these penalties were very minimal. Also, a lot of them were not even existing. But here they've hidden some high penal rates. And so when you're caught, you will never think of doing it again.
Wait.
Because
so are you saying, wait first. So are you saying now that for somebody like Hezanera Dolalua, if he wants to buy corn, maize from somebody, and he decides to just award an LPO to Sulaiman Morafat, somebody, he will pay 5 million naira.
If that Morafat, whatever, is not registered, does not have a TIN number, is not registered with tax authority, he will.
Wonderful. Okay, continue.
He will. So the way to go around some of these, but there are some that you can do, say, okay, you are doing direct purchases, but there are some levels that you cannot say you are doing direct purchases. But as long as you give someone an LPO and a contract and the person is not registered with tax authority, just know that you have incurred a penalty of 5 million. Now, if you do not file your returns, or you file an incomplete or inaccurate return, 100,000 in the first month, 50 every month until you do the right thing. Now, what are these returns? You are, as a company, you are meant to file your returns with the now Federal Inland Revenue Service, which will become National Revenue Service. So you are supposed to file your return. That is the way they will capture your company and you begin to pay your taxes. If you do not file your return, you will have this payment hanging on you. Anytime you now come up, they will just calculate how many months this has been going on, and it adds up so much. It could actually the business can go down by reason of some of these penalties that they've inserted in these reforms. So please, you need to get an accountant. You need to get an auditor. You need to ensure that your filings are done. Even your Corporate Affairs Commission filing, your annual returns should be done. Okay, Jonathan's hand is up. Maybe we should, that can.
No. So, okay, sorry. Just before Dr. Jonathan speaks, he needs to leave shortly. So I would like him to have some more intervention. So if once you wrap up, he will.
Okay.
If you can wrap up so that he can also.
Okay, so let me just wrap so that he can.
Jonathan. No, but pause, Doctor, over to you. Doctor, you have the floor. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to add, when Emmanuel was speaking on the penalties, that there's actually interest as well too, right? So it's not just even the penalties in itself alone too, but that's so the tax authority deems it as a loan when you also don't pay on time. So it's deemed as a loan. Yeah. So it's deemed as you taking a forceful loan. So there's also interest on late payment as well too. I
No,
just
please.
wanted to add
Is it
that
not
as well.
tax? How is it
Yeah,
loan?
so no, I'm going to get there. What he's saying is
Uh-huh.
that if no,
Uh-uh.
so these ones is just a penalty. There are some that will have interest. In fact, some people will deduct money and they will not remit. So you are owing
Oh.
government the money.
Okay.
So yeah, so there are areas where interest will apply as well at prevailing.
Hey,
Is a lot. Okay, so let me just run through
okay.
it. So
Go ahead.
if you are not filing your return, you have penalties. If you fail to keep accounts, you know, I'm also an auditor. I trained as an auditor before I went into banking, before I went into consulting, all right? And so we also do some audit assignments and all of that. So usually when the tax people come, you just say, well, we don't have accounting software. We don't have anything. So we write what is sold and all of that. It's no longer an excuse. You must keep account. By whatever means you are meant to keep account. And these accounts, for you to keep accounts, you need to keep records. So let me just give you a simple one. Dr. Olalua, if your vehicle, okay, if your vehicle is your personal name, so maybe you transfer it to your business name. And so you buy fuel, the business can take care of the fuel for the vehicle. But it means that when you go to the filling station, you have to collect receipts. Don't just go there as one big man, just buy fuel, just drive off, and then you now say fuel, 150. Nobody will take it from you. So, and whether it is by transfer or by whatever POS, whether you're using your card or you're transferring the funds, you can get the receipts. They even have physical receipt that they give to you apart from the printer. So please ensure that you keep your records and you keep your accounts. So it's important. If you fail to provide any record or book, in the case of a person, 10,000, in the case of a company, 50,000 naira. That's an administrative penalty. If you refuse to grant access to tax people into your premises, 1 million for the first day of default and 10,000 for each day until you allow them to come into your premises.
Oh, okay.
And if you fail to process a taxable supply through the fiscalization system, government is now saying that your invoices will now be done online and it will hit FRS. They've not come to the SMEs yet. They are concentrating on the large tickets, but we need to ensure that you key in as quickly as possible because there are also penalties to that. 200,000 plus 100% of the tax due and an interest at the prevailing Central Bank of Nigeria monetary policy rate. So this is one of the sections where the interest also adds up to it. If you collect withholding tax and you fail to collect, whether you refuse to collect and you think that because you did not collect, you are not required to remit, the law says that you are liable to administrative penalty of 40% of the amount not deducted. And so you will first of all pay the amount. A person who has an obligation to collect, deduct or withhold tax under the relevant tax law and fails to collect, deduct or withhold is due to a liability to administrative penalty of 40%. Then if you fail to remit, of course, the amount that you collected that you have not remitted, administrative penalty of 10% per annum of the tax deducted and interest at prevailing bank rate. If you self-account, so if, for instance, you were not charged a particular tax, say withholding tax, you are supposed to self-account. You are supposed to charge yourself. If you don't charge yourself, there's also penalty. All right. If you fail to notify tax authority that you've changed your address, 100,000 for the first month, 5,000 for every month until they identify where you have moved to. If you influence tax authority, 500,000 penalty. In case of a body corporate, 2 million naira. If you get refunds and, some people go for tax refund. You said you've withholding tax, the tax withheld from your income is more than the tax that is due from your company as a company income tax, and you go for refund. If they find out that there's anything wrong with it, there are penalties to it. So what are the challenges for agribusiness? Digital compliance. You need to ensure that our reporting requirements is now very critical for agribusiness. Potential short-term adjustment burden, because a lot of people were not used to this e-invoicing, accounting, keeping your records, keeping your tasks, doing your audit, filing your returns. We need to do that. Then there's need for capacity building. And you need to ensure that your people have enough information to deal with it. What are the tax incentives? So we've talked about VAT zero rating for agribusiness, and then you have the company income tax, the development levy, we talked about that, company income tax, we talked about that. So essential requirement, formal business registration, please register your business with CAC, proper record keeping and digital reporting, e-invoicing, please key in as quickly as you can, timely filing and payment, and then engage tax professionals early is important. Then you track your threshold and turnover bands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jacobo. That was a very comprehensive masterclass on taxation. Dr. Jonathan, I'd like to, just before we take more questions, I'd like to hear from you based on preliminary questions and any other top-up, so that you can intervene before Mr. Jacobo takes over. So over to you, Dr. Jonathan.
Just unmute yourself, Dr. Jonathan.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those who want to ask questions, please, you can type your questions in the chat box. We'll have an open mic session after Dr. Jonathan has spoken. So, Doctor, please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I think you needed to help me. Okay, so I think that Mr. Manuel has done a very good job and went very detailed. But what I just want to say will be two things. The bigger picture really is that there's quite a lot more benefit for us as small businesses. I think the mindset I want all of us to have is, how can I take advantage? What are those opportunities there for me? I think there are quite a lot of opportunities. And while you might see some of those penalties sounding a bit very strong, the bigger picture is deterrence. Just so that it deters us from not doing the right thing. I want to say that in terms of all these benefits that can accrue to us, a very important point is that filing is critical. Filing is critical. So even though you might get some benefits, some exemptions, like has been listed even on this slide, but it's important to file. I even think strategically it makes good sense to even think about, filing now as the year wraps up. I think it's a very, very good evidence to even show, for example, where am I? So what is, for example, my revenue is 100 million and below. I think the fact that if you can do your filing for the year, which this is a very good time. I like the idea of aligning your tax filing with the government tax year, which is a January to December kind of a thing. So I'm saying that try and tidy up for the year and file for the year. And you can use your tax clearance certificate as a basis for getting some of these exemptions and these reliefs that would apply to you. I think that anybody you speak to, so for example, that can see through your tax clearance certificates that your revenues are at a certain lower threshold, will be very happy to understand why in some cases you should not be charged the VAT or why you shouldn't charge the VAT. So I'll say that while those exemptions are there, filing is critical. Nobody's exempted from filing, so you must file. And some of these tax filing are due on a monthly basis, like you see in the case of withholding tax for VAT, while some, like the company income tax, is at the end of the year. So thank you for listening to me. I mean, when Emmanuel was speaking, I was like, very good. He's quite very detailed, and I think that he will do justice to all the questions that I'm not able to do. So I have to leave now, but I know that he's more than capable. So thank you for having me.
Okay, Dr. Jonathan, just before you leave, can you drop your contact as Office Lord? I know you do a lot of financial consulting. Can you please drop your contact as Office Lord in the chat box or your social media handles in case people want to reach out to you?
Okay.
Please let's do that so that
All right.
our participants can reach out to you if they need to. A lot of people need assistance with this tax thing, and I'm sure that they'll find your services useful. So please kindly drop your contacts, and thank you very much for giving us your very scarce time today. So yes, so just for participants to know, we normally would do this in 1 hour, but today we are going to like 90 minutes, and we want to address some of the concerns and fears on taxation. And graciously, Mr. Jacobo has accepted to be here, so he will be able to answer your questions. Mr. Jacobo, just before you go, can you speak to implications for business names? I saw in the chat box that some of our participants want to know, how does this affect those of them that have business name registration? What should they know? What should they be doing?
All right. Thank you. The business name thing, I've heard a lot to say, no, if you now have a business name, you can just deduct and all of that. No. I think is what part of what I said earlier, that even if you're running with a business name, separate the business from your personal finances, and then let the business now. A business name, your tax clearance is your personal finances, your earnings. Your tax clearance will also apply to your business name. However, after after deducting all your payments, all your expenses, all your outflow, eligible or liable expenses from your revenue, which includes payment to you in terms of salary or whatever payments that you got from the business name. If there is a balance in the business account, that balance will be taxed. It will be taxed along the personal income tax range. So it doesn't matter whether it's a business name or a limited liability company. What is critical here is record keeping. You need to ensure that you have proper records. And like I said earlier, the issue of the transactions that pass through your bank account, they've been reporting them to NDIC and all of that. It's just that they were not paying attention to them. They possibly will pay more attention now. And when they see some level of transactions or balances in your account, then you need to, it will be assumed that it is profit that you should pay tax on. So that is what it is. So the business name there's nothing wrong in running your business with a business name. Apart from any limitation in terms of the level of transaction you can do with some organizations and all of that, there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay, thank you very much for that response. There's something else I would like you to throw some more light on. Now you have said all these things. The one I'm even more worried about now is that it will be treated as a loan. You will pay fine. You will pay interest. What should business owners be doing for tax efficiency? What are the steps they should take so that they can be more efficient with their taxation?
You need your business to be structured by a professional. You need your business to be structured by a professional. It's no longer business as usual. And it's not rocket science. Once you have someone who understands the tax environment, you can structure a business in such a way that as much as possible, you are not paying taxes that you shouldn't pay. For instance, I mentioned a few minutes ago that your vehicle can be in the name of the business. That way, the business can take care of the repairs, can take care of the maintenance, can take care of the fueling. But if the vehicle is in your name, those expenses, you can't pass it through the business. So those are the kind of structures that you need to put in place. Once you put them in place, And so all of those expenses, you don't scratch your head when you're maintaining your car because it's an allowable expense. And try to get the receipts for those repairs or fuel or maintenance or whatever you're doing. Your generator. Okay, so the generator in your house can be the name of the business as well. But you need to structure your business such that you are able to claim as much of your related expenses as possible.
So are you saying,
with documents?
sorry, just to say, so what you are saying now is you're advising us that instead of buying assets in your name, buy them in the name of the company.
Yes. And you also get capital allowance for those assets, which will also reduce your tax.
So another thing, can somebody now, let's say I have cars in my name, generator in my name, can I sell them to the company? Or
Yes.
can I put them in the company as assets?
Sell them at a rate to the company.
Okay. All right. So,
Just sell them to the company. There should be receipts. Document them. So I'm selling this. So Dr. Helen is selling this vehicle to Central Partners. And so there is a receipt from you that I've received this from Central Partners. And then there is a transfer of ownership document. And the vehicle documents are now just change of ownership, and then the documents are changed appropriately. With that, you can cover all of the related expenses without running foul of any tax law.
okay, there are some people comments in the question. Sorry, there are some questions in our chat box, and someone says that I heard that farms don't have to pay tax. Does my small farm still have to pay tax because it is agribusiness? Before now, the tax code
No, so
provided that if you are in,
it's
sorry, Mr. Jacobo, let me just land. Before now, the tax code provided that if you
yeah.
are in cropping, maybe you are planting or you are raising animals, you are tax exempt, corporate tax, income tax exempt. So what people are asking now is, with this new tax code, does that still stand, or what should we be looking at as farmers? Is it the same law for farmers and people who are processing? Please shed more light on that for us.
Yeah, it still applies. But so what they're trying to do here is that they are supporting farmers who are in the SME brackets, more like it. So you are farming and you are within. So they are trying to encourage the young agribusiness entrepreneurs and all of that to actually come up. But once your farm has crossed the level of Olam, you are no longer looking at those exemptions. But as long as you are within the SME bracket, those exemptions are there for you.
So what you are saying is that all of us have to pay personal income tax, whether
Oh,
you are
yes, definitely.
small farmer or big farmer.
Whether you
However,
are a farmer, yes.
if you have a poultry or you have a cassava farm, you may be tax exempt for corporate income tax.
Yes, well, yes. Your personal income tax is something you must do for yourself and your staff. But for company income tax, you are tax exempt if you fall within the small business bracket. And then you have a 5-year holiday if you're even starting a new business in that space.
Okay, there's another question here that says, what is the definition of SME in farming? Like, if you're a farmer, how do we know that you are a small farmer or a big farmer?
So it's just the turnover and the assets that is used to define it.
Okay, so what is
If you look
turnover
at it,
again? What's the
100
turnover? What's
million,
assets?
100 million turnover, assets to 50 million.
So anything above that, you are no longer SME.
Anything above that, you are no longer SME.
Mm. Okay, someone wants to know that is there a software for agribusiness bookkeeping?
Now, the agribusiness, it depends on, because most of the accounting packages would suffice for agribusiness, because all of what you have is a form of stock. So as long as there's a stock module, you can actually account for um, whatever you do. But we need to look at, or you need to discuss with your advisors to be sure that the way the modules are configured, you can impute the unit of measure of your product, or your um, trade, your items of trade, as the case may be. So it should be such that you can impute the unit of measure. If you are, for instance, if you're looking at say plantation, and so you are looking at trees, that one is just simple count of number. In some other things, it might not just be a straight count. You might have to use some other metrics. So those metrics, the application must be such that those metrics can um, be configured to take care of those your metrics of measurement.
Okay. So somebody says, what demarcates the business name registration and limited liability in respect of this law? You know that they usually tell you that, oh, if you are a new business, start with business name before you do limited liability. Should somebody who is a business name change to a limited liability, or should a limited liability change to a business name if they are not doing volumes? What should people watch out for?
Okay, so there are the benefits of the business name is such that you can run with it's nimble. You don't. There are some implications for the large corporates in terms of company income tax and even filing. For instance, if you have a business name, before now, they've changed it now. If you do not file, the penalty was just 5,000. I think they've increased it, but for a limited liability is a lot more. They look at limited liability as large corporates. And so if you look at even some of these penalties that I read here, there are different penalties for individuals where business names are considered as individuals. Okay. There's no difference between you and the business name. And so some of these penalties and some of these charges are lower for the business name than for a registered business, or for a limited liability business. But the downside is that there are some things you might not be in a position to do with a business name. There are some government contracts, for instance, that you cannot get if you have a business name. There are some facilities you cannot get if you have a business name. So, but if you are playing when you take off, you can start. When you get to a level when you think you are now ready to go for those kind of contracts or those kind of businesses, then you can upscale.
Okay, thank you. Someone is saying that he has been running his business for 5 years and he hasn't been filing. Can he start in January?
I would advise that if it is possible, if you have an auditor or an accountant, file this week for your backlog, because the penalty rate is different from January. So if between today and Friday you can call someone, if it is your even your CAC, because you see, if there are some things you want to do as even a business name, you are working on a partnership with a foreign organization and all of that, the first thing they will do is to go to Corporate Affairs Commission website and see whether this company is active. And they get there and they say the company is not active because you've not filed your annual returns. if you can do that this week, file your annual returns, let it be active. Your penalty level will be low because before next year is not so much, especially if it's a business name, it's not much. Even if it's a limited liability company, it's still going to be lower. So if you can file it this week, please go ahead. If you need any assistance or any contact to make that happen, we can help you. But if you can do it this week, it's better. It will be cheaper for you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Jacobo. As we continue to answer the questions, can you please put maybe your LinkedIn contact or an email address where participants who may need assistance can reach out to you and get the support they need? There's somebody else here who is asking that if you're in agribusiness and you talk about 5 years tax holiday, should they start filing now or should they start filing after the 5 years tax holiday? Or is there something they should be doing though they have the tax holiday?
Tax holiday is for those who are coming in, not those who are already there.
So I know if you say I don't close and start again, tax holiday.
Yeah, so what so it's like trying to galvanize the agribusiness. You're trying to get a lot more people to come into the agribusiness space. So you can start a new business, and you can, for that new business, you can have a tax holiday. It qualifies as a pioneer business.
Okay. So Marvel, I don't understand your question. How do you identify those in the agribusiness if the object of memorandum does not state that it is the name registered before? Okay, so I think if I understand this question, it's like, how you register a business to say maybe engineering and construction, and then you start using that name for agribusiness. Does that company qualify for tax exemption?
No. So again, what you can do, but it's not a big deal. You can just amend your MEMAT. That is, just get someone, they will just amend the same company name. You can amend your MEMAT to either include other things or even change what your object clauses are. You can change it or you can add to it. It's not a big deal.
Okay. All right. So the name can remain, but change the clauses.
Yes. Change your object clauses.
How do you change that? How do you change the object clauses?
There are, from Corporate Affairs Commission, we just get anyone who is accredited to work with Corporate Affairs Commission can change that for you. So you just have to you bring in additional object clauses that will capture the essence of what you do so that you can qualify for the agri benefits.
Okay, thank you very much. So just to remind our participants that today's session is on agribusiness and taxation. And what we want to do today is we brought two speakers, Dr. Jonathan Ike Olumba and Mr. Emmanuel Jacobo. Our objective is to get them to help you answer as many questions as possible. We plan to stretch a bit to see if we can go till 7. And more importantly, Dr. Ike Olumba and Mr. Jacobo are both experts in finance, in audit, and in tax consultancy. And they will share their contacts so that if you have further technical requirements, you can contact them after this meeting and they can guide you to the right direction. If it's not something they can do, they may introduce you to another service provider. And so let's continue taking the questions. We'd like you to put your questions in the chat box so that we can read. Because of technical issues, we don't want to open the floor, but we'll just be reading your questions. And Dr. Alalua will round up for us shortly. So I take more questions. Someone here says that, is it advisable? This person, I just laugh when I read the question. He said, is it advisable to run a business account on online banks like Money Points this time around? Must a business open an account with a commercial bank? So is it okay to have an OPay account or a Money Point or PalmPay?
Truly is, as long as you can get your statements and you can present them when you need them, fine. But through this, in our environment, there are some transactions you want to do, and people want to see account in a regular bank. So what people do, what a lot of people do is you have a regular account, but you have some of these online banking for some very quick transactions that you will want to do. If, however, you have access to facility from the online banks, then they would want you to do more of your transactions with them because they'll provide you facility. So it's a function of if you're able to get facility from them for your business, then why not? But if you think that where you need facilities for the kind of business you're doing, you need to run to a regular bank, then you need to have an account with a regular bank.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, let me just share my thoughts about digital banks. I find them to be very efficient. In fact, I'm an unofficial ambassador for OPay. I find out with OPay, my transactions do not fail. They pay you interest daily, and they are constantly offering you loans, and they will disburse based on your transaction with them. So I find OPay to be a very outstanding financial institution. I also find money points to be useful. I hear testimonies from people about money point, but I have used OPay in the past 3 months or so, and it's like magic. I'm telling you, compared to my other banks, I won't call their names, but OPay is very, very reliable. And what I like is they give you credits. I mean, why am I keeping my money with you? You're not giving me interest. You're not giving me loan. You're not giving me anything. So it's what you can try incrementally, and they increase the tiers gradually.
Yeah.
There's the
As
entry
your
level tier. Then
yeah.
as you provide more documentation, they increase your access to the services and facilities. So I mean, I
But,
have a question.
but
Okay,
sorry,
go
Dr.
ahead.
Ellen.
Yeah, go
Let me
ahead.
just chip in
Yes.
there that in finance, there's a maxim that we know. The higher the risk, the higher the return.
Hmm.
And so please just also know that the returns are higher from the online banking and the risk are also higher. So so you need to balance it because yes,
Hmm.
there are some returns that you can get from the online banking that you might not get from regular banks, but also know that the risk that you face from the online banks could be higher. Not necessarily,
What
but
are the risks? Are they not insured by NDIC? They are.
do you know that most of the banks that are dealing with online are microfinance banks?
It's okay.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
microfinance bank, what is the insurance limit? We need to know. What's the insurance limits?
I think this is about taxation, but there's the reason why I want to expand this conversation a bit is
Yeah.
also to see that taxation is part of our financial management tool, right? How do you manage your finances, and what are the instruments and platforms and partners available to you? I believe that what has happened with those digital banks is that they have disrupted the system such that even the regular banks are now beginning to offer the kind of services that the digital payment platforms are offering. I'm studying this ecosystem, this space very closely to compare and contrast the services we can get and how it affects us generally. So I think that whilst I agree with you that microfinance banks come with high risk, I recognize that most of those digital platforms are offering certain levels of disruptive services that the regular banks have refused to recognize or provide over time. So back to the taxation issue. Do you also know that, and I'll check again, I don't want to put out information that is not correct. I have seen on one of the platforms that they're actually offering you how to manage your calculation of taxes and profits. But I'll just check and I'll probably do a post about it because I want to test it. So there's a lot out there. There are a lot of tools that we can use to provide to manage our finances in an efficient way. And that's why we have it here today to tell people exactly practical steps they should be taking to make it happen. And I hope that for those who have asked questions so far, you have gotten the answers that you want, you know. Someone says a sense of asking questions on digital banks like MoneyPoint is that they collapse revenue of different sales points and also the market revenues and expenses. Yes, thank you very much, Engineer Shegun. Engineer Shegun, I'm telling you, the way the analysis, the level of analysis those platforms provide for us as business owners is quite impressive. It's worth exploring. I'm not saying you should go and put your money anywhere. We're not offering you that kind of advice, but I'm saying explore. And how I got into them is I just noticed that everybody is giving me a particular company. Opay, everywhere. Opay, Abuja, Opay, Port Harcourt, Opay. Why is everybody giving me Opay? And I began to ask questions, and I tried it, and I can tell you that the experience has been very seamless, very, very, very seamless. I'm telling you. For me, I mean, and again, you have to try it gradually so that you don't go and run into troubles. You know, that's it. So, Mr. Jacobo, I'd like you to give us closing remarks. It's 6:30. Give us closing remark. Yeah, someone says I like money points too. Yes, that's my brother. Yes, 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 yes. For me, I'm okay for life. So
No,
let's
like
have
I
your
said,
closing remarks, and Dr. Olalua, please
yes.
get ready to come and
Okay, so is okay, so first I'll close out on the OP and the money point is that what do you need from a bank? You need service, you need facility, and you need maybe this advisory that they provide. If they give that to you, why not? When the tax people come, they want to see your statement. You can get your statement from them for whatever period that they need. Okay, these are my statements, and you can get your loan and everything. So if everything that you need from a bank, you can get from them, there's nothing wrong in dealing with them. The
I
corporate
beg
governance.
anybody wey know them for Opay, make it tell them. Make they come make me a brand ambassador. I tell you, I believe Opay to everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm not ashamed about that one.
yeah.
I
So
they're very good,
yeah,
honestly.
that's fine. So on the taxation side, my advice is look, record keeping. Business owners find it very difficult to keep records. If you can discipline yourself to keep records, you will not be scared of the taskman. If you can discipline yourself to keep records, that's what I need us to pay very serious attention to. A lot of us don't collect receipts. A lot of us don't keep them, even when we collect receipts. We don't have files to say, oh, these are, and so a lot of us don't want to pay accountants to help us keep our records. So by the time you don't have records, they will just assume that every money that comes into your account is revenue or is profits, and then they want to apply tax rate on the amount that comes into your account instead of being able to separate your income from your liable expenses, and you are discussing tax on what is left. The only way you can prove that this is not profit to be taxed is records. So please, just let's ensure that as much as possible, we keep records, and then let's get professionals to help us manage our books. Once we get that done, there's no reason to be scared of the taskman. You can avoid tasks if you know what to do, and it's easier if you have an advisor who knows what to do. Thank you.
And where can we find any of such advisors?
They are
Is
available.
this a service you are willing to provide, or you have a network of service providers
No, we
that
provide
our
those
participants can work
services.
with?
We
Okay,
provide the
excellent.
services. So anyone that require those services will let us know. It doesn't matter what the service is. If it is not within our purview, we can also point you to the people that we think can help you. But at the end of the day, don't think that if you don't spend the money, you might. This government is a tax government, please. So please, whatever you can to demand, the president is a tax man. And so he will collect his taxes. And see, see the focus, let me just throw this in. The focus for these tax laws is actually not you, who is an agripreneur trying to build businesses. That's not the focus. There are people in Lekki that have estates with 100 units of duplexes, and the tax they pay in a year is no more than 350,000 naira.
Jesus.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. There are developers who are selling properties in billions of naira, and they don't pay tax. So the target is not the woman who is selling tomato on the street. They say, oh, they will look at the money. Nobody's going to be looking at how much the tomato woman has in her account.
The
and
money
you want
not
to
the
remove.
balance before self. So what did they want?
Exactly. So that's not the focus. And the focus is actually not an agripreneur like you, but your business is growing. And so you need to put a structure so that you don't just fall foul of those provisions. So the taskman comes, and when the taskman comes, unfortunately, they are not looking at how your business is going to grow. They are looking at how much money they will make for themselves and for government. And so if you structure your business, you'll be safe. Thank you.
Somebody is asking that if they don't have a receipt, can their bank statement fly?
The bank statement does not tell what you do. And then even if the bank statement, even if you describe bank statement, you describe it in bank statement, the taxman will ask for a third-party evidence. Not from you, not from the bank, from a third party. So if you said, oh, I bought fertilizer worth 1 million. Somebody sold the fertilizer to you. Where is the receipt from the person? So even if you describe in your bank statement fertilizer, you can write fertilizer and the money will still go to something else. But they need a third-party evidence, which is a receipt from a third party. It's very important, please.
Fantastic, fantastic. So what you are just telling us is we should learn to run our businesses well and properly.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ojakowo. We are going to bring you back a couple more times to throw some more light on operationalization. I know you are developing some tools that can help small business owners with taxation. We'll also bring you back once that tool is ready, so that we can get people to work with it very easily in a simple way. The other thing I also want to say is we want to thank all those who are listening, and on behalf of Hairs and Heralds, Farm to Fortune, and us at Sentia Partners, we want you to know that in the new year we are going to start master classes on specific topics as well as this webinar, because we know that people have today was like a mini master class, and it is deliberate so that people can understand issues around the taxation. And just like Mr. Ojakowo said, don't be afraid of the taxes. In fact, I find it strange about the hue and cry about this taxation, because taxes are all over the world. So, but Mr. Ojakowo will be back. He has shared his contacts, and you can also reach out to Hairs and Heralds, either to Dr. Olaoluwa or myself if you need their services. They provide support for growing business owners to ensure that you keep your records properly, you have proper accounting, you do proper audits, and you file your taxes. What most tax consultants tell you is that compliance is cheaper than avoidance. The compliance is cheaper than evasion. You know, what you will pay to comply is far, far lower than what you will pay if you are trying to evade taxation. So please go away knowing that this new tax law is not a death sentence for us as owners of growing businesses. Rather, it's just to help us structure things better. And like he said, I am aware because I work in that space that there are a lot of loans, financing opportunities, and resourcing opportunities for business owners. But if your business is not structured, it's difficult to provide the support you want. It's difficult for you to access it. And it's difficult for us to evaluate the kind of business you are even running. So we want to encourage everyone to please make sure they structure their business. And Farm to Fortune will return in January with more information to help us grow our agri businesses. So Dr. Olaoluwa, I know that we are cooking a lot for the new year. I want to hand over to you and thank all of you for attending this session. We look forward to seeing you in the January session. The Farm to Fortune series holds every last Friday of the month, but this year, because it was 26th, we decided to move it to Monday. So in January, we'll resume our sessions on the last Friday of every month. Thank you, everyone, and have a very, very happy New Year celebration and a prosperous 2026. So over to you, Dr. Olaoluwa.
Thank you very much, Ma. Let me see if my video is still okay because there's power cuts. So I learned national grid has collapsed. Hope after paying taxes, they will be able to resuscitate and fix our national grid. Hopefully.
Amen. Amen.
Hopefully, yes. So, yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Jacobo. I mean, I was just scribbling and scribbling. My notes is full. Even me, I have to scribble a lot. So, thank you very much. We appreciate your time, your rich resources, and the effort you have put into this. We can't thank you enough. And Dr. Jonathan Ifilumba in absentia, he did justice. He had to leave. He had a meeting somewhere else. He's as busy as that, and I know Mr. Emmanuel is as busy as well, but he has to spare time to just be with us through the event. So we are grateful and we don't take this for granted. Dr. Eli has, shared the vote of thanks. She has said a lot. A lot of thank you to her as well. But my final vote of thanks will go to this to the participants, and I would like you to always, share this because a lot of resources goes into this. You can just feel this one of those sessions, but if you ask anybody that needs this genuinely, the person will tell you how much he or she has gained. So there are a lot of those people outside there that need this. We put a lot of resources, effort, backings, behind this. It's not just for 40 people or 50 people. As much as possible, you have a business partner. Imagine what Mr. Emmanuel said. If a supplier supplies you without, being tax compliant, you are liable to a fine of 5 million naira. I mean, so you have to educate people around you, share as much as possible, these webinars that we put together. And like Dr. Eni has mentioned as well, we'll be having master classes in January and going forth 2026 by God's grace. So these are not for fun. They are not out of passion or just, out of having nothing to do, but out of the passion to educate, to make the agribusiness space a better one, the SME space a better one, so we can all transfer or we can all become bigger business owners. So thank you very much once again for joining, for staying through, till now, and even during the festive period, you're able to join and stay till now. So we appreciate your time, your resources, your effort, and we hope to see you, subsequently, in the master classes to come and in the webinars to come. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Jacobo, once again. Thank you, Dr. Ellen, once again. Thank you, Dr. Jonathan. Thank you, all the participants. And I wish you, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Bye.
All
Thank you,
right,
sir.
Doctor.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.